Hi everyone, welcome back to Learning with ISRAR. In today's video, we're exploring an exciting topic, creative thinking versus critical thinking. Do you know there's a big difference between thinking creatively and thinking critically, and both are equally important for success? We'll look at what each of these thinking styles means and then break down the key differences between them. Critical and creative thinking are essential cognitive skills that enable individuals to analyze information, solve problems, and generate innovative ideas. While both are distinct, they complement each other in decision-making and problem-solving processes. Now, let's first define the critical thinking. It is the ability to analyze, evaluate, and interpret information objectively to make reasoned judgments. It involves analysis in critical think, which is the process of breaking down complex information, arguments, or theories into their constituent parts to understand how they work and how they relate to each other. It involves objectively examining different perspectives, evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of evidence and arguments, and identifying underlying biases to form well-reasoned conclusions, moving beyond surface-level understanding to uncover deeper truths and make informed judgments. Evaluating information in critical thinking involves critically assessing its credibility, relevance, and accuracy to determine its trustworthiness and suitability for a specific purpose, such as research or decision-making. This process often uses frameworks like the ISRA'S test, currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, purpose, to systematically analyze sources by considering the timeliness of information, its connection to your needs, the author's expertise, the evidence provided, and the information's intent. By applying these critical thinking skills, you can identify reliable information and avoid misinformation, bias, and outdated content. Critical thinking also involves logical reasoning, which is the methodical process of drawing factual conclusions from given facts and evidence. This process is central to critical thinking and is used for understanding, explaining, and predicting outcomes in a wide range of fields, from scientific research to everyday decision-making. The foundation of logical reasoning is avoiding assumptions and personal biases, and instead, focusing on the available, verifiable evidence. Critical thinking also involves in enhancing problem-solving by providing a structured approach to analyzing problems, evaluating information, generating solutions, and making informed decisions. It involves questioning assumptions, identifying root causes, considering multiple perspectives, and using logic and evidence to find effective solutions, leading to more innovative and successful outcomes. Now let's discuss the characteristics of critical thinking. The first characteristics of a critical thinker is open-mindedness, which is the psychological trait of willingness to consider new ideas and different perspectives, even when they contradict your own beliefs or experiences. It involves actively listening to and evaluating opposing viewpoints without prejudice, which promotes personal growth, better problem-solving, and more harmonious relationships. It is not about necessarily agreeing with other views, but rather about engaging with them with an open mind and being receptive to learning from them. Skepticism toward assumptions and biases is a core component of critical thinking that involves intentionally questioning the deeply held beliefs and seeking objective evidence. By developing a healthy, evidence-oriented doubt, a critical thinker can guard against cognitive traps that distort judgment and prevent poor decision-making. A critical thinker should have the ability to distinguish between facts and opinions. To distinguish between a fact and an opinion, ask if the statement can be proven true or false through objective evidence or research. Facts are verifiable and objective, while opinions are subjective statements based on personal beliefs, feelings, or interpretations and cannot be proven. Facts are quantifiable and universal, remaining true regardless of personal views, whereas opinions vary from person to person and can change based on new information or beliefs. Ability of clear and logical reasoning supports the critical thinker into the process of thinking systematically to reach sound conclusions, judgments, or explanations by analyzing facts and arguments. It involves breaking down problems, identifying relationships, using deduction and induction, and presenting a clear, organized chain of thought to arrive at valid, evidence-based answers. After discussing the critical thinking, its main elements and characteristics of critical thinker, let's now discuss the creative thinking, its main elements and characteristics of creative thinker. Creative thinking is a mental process that generates novel and effective solutions by looking at problems from fresh perspectives, often thinking outside the box, to produce original ideas and insights. It combines divergent thinking, which produces many possibilities, with convergent thinking, which synthesizes and evaluates these ideas into a new, valuable outcome. This skill isn't exclusive to artists but is essential across various fields for innovation, problem-solving, and adapting to new challenges. It involves divergent thinking, which is a creative problem-solving process that generates a wide variety of ideas and potential solutions for an open-ended question or problem. It is characterized by its spontaneous, free-flowing, and nonlinear nature, emphasizing fluency, flexibility, and originality in thought, and is often contrasted with convergent thinking, which seeks a single correct answer. Techniques like brainstorming are used to foster divergent thinking and increase the likelihood of discovering new and innovative solutions. Imagination, which is the faculty of forming new ideas, images, or concepts not present to the senses. When directed beyond conventional boundaries, it becomes the engine of creativity and innovation, leading to breakthrough discoveries and transformative solutions. This, unconventional thinking, is the process of generating groundbreaking ideas by challenging traditional norms and established approaches. Flexibility is the ability to adapt the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to new information, changing circumstances, and different situations. This mental agility allows to adjust strategies, embrace new ideas, and respond to unpredictable challenges. By remaining open and adaptable, individuals can navigate complex environments, fostering innovation, better problem-solving, and greater overall success. Risk-taking, willingness to experiment and make mistakes is another element of creative thinking. Risk-taking is the conscious decision to pursue opportunities where the outcome is uncertain, with the understanding that mistakes and failures are not necessarily negative but can be valuable learning experiences that drive innovation, growth, and goal achievement. Fostering a risk-taking mindset involves reframing failure as data, creating a safe environment for experimentation, and learning to persevere rather than being deterred by setbacks. After discussing the main elements of creative thinking, now let's discuss the characteristics of creative thinkers. Curiosity and a questioning mindset is the main characteristics of a creative thinker. It involves having an eagerness to learn and understand, challenging assumptions, and actively seeking answers through asking questions to drive personal and professional growth. This approach fosters continuous learning by embracing uncertainty, encouraging deeper exploration of topics, and leading to innovative solutions and expanded knowledge. Developing this mindset requires an openness to new ideas, a willingness to be vulnerable by admitting what you don't know, and a commitment to inquiry over simply fixing or directing others. The willingness to challenge conventional norms is another characteristic of a creative thinker, which a mindset of questioning and resisting established ideas, behaviors, and traditions. Rather than blindly accepting the status quo, people with this trait critically evaluate conventional wisdom to determine if it is still relevant, just, or beneficial. This process can drive positive change and innovation, both within organizations and society as a whole. The ability to connect unrelated ideas to generate new insights is a core creative and innovative skill known as associational thinking of a creative thinker. This cognitive process involves synthesizing disparate concepts to spark fresh perspectives, solve problems, and create groundbreaking inventions. Playfulness and openness to new experiences are deeply interconnected psychological traits that are vital for a creative thinker's personal growth, resilience, and overall well-being. Playfulness is a mindset that reframes everyday situations as opportunities for humor, creativity, and fun, while openness to experience is a broader personality trait that involves a willingness to engage with novelty. After discussing both concepts in detail, now let's see how they integrated. The integration of critical and creative thinking combines generating novel ideas, creative, with analyzing and evaluating them, critical, to achieve desirable outcomes and solve complex problems. This synergy allows for the development of innovative solutions by first fostering divergent thinking to imagine possibilities and then using convergent thinking to refine and justify the best options. Essential in fields like science and education, This combined approach enables individuals to think both analytically and imaginatively, leading to more effective and well-rounded problem-solving and decision-making. Here is a practical examples how these both concepts integrate in designing, decisions-making and problem-solving in real world. This is another example of integration of critical and creative thinking in problem-solving, where creative thinking helps generate multiple solutions, while critical thinking selects the most viable one. In practice, creative thinking asks, what if? Critical thinking asks, is it valid? Together, they complement each other. Creativity generates options, while critical thinking selects the best option. Let's now differentiate them. Critical thinking is analytical whereas creative is generative. Critical thinking is convergent whereas creative is divergent. Critical thinking is vertical whereas creative is lateral. Critical thinking is probability whereas creative is possibility. Critical thinking is judgment whereas creative is suspended judgment. Critical thinking is hypothesis testing whereas creative is hypothesis forming. Critical thinking is objective whereas creative is subjective. Critical thinking is answer whereas creative is an answer. Critical thinking is closed whereas creative is an open-ended. Critical thinking is linear whereas creative is an associative. Critical thinking is reasoning whereas creative is speculating. Critical thinking is logic whereas creative is an intuition. Critical thinking is yes but whereas creative is yes and. In conclusion, we can say, cultivating both critical and creative thinking empowers us to make better decisions, drive innovation, and adapt effectively in both professional and personal life.